Imagine waking up one morning to a quiet city bustling with life, and by nightfall, everything you know has vanished beneath a choking cloud of ash and fire. This is exactly what happened to Pompeii, a thriving Roman city, buried alive in a matter of hours by a terrifying volcanic eruption. But Pompeii wasn't the only civilization swallowed by volcanic fury. Centuries later, a massive explosion would shatter an island and send shockwaves around the world, changing history forever. What happened next is a story of destruction so extreme, it still baffles scientists and haunts survivors' descendants. How a volcano destroys a civilization. From Pompeii to Krakatoa, volcanoes are among nature's most powerful and awe-inspiring forces, capable of shaping landscapes and profoundly affecting human civilization. Throughout history, volcanic eruptions have wrought devastation on entire communities, sometimes wiping out cities in an instant. The destruction caused by volcanic activity is not only physical, but also cultural, economic, and social. Two of the most famous examples that illustrate how volcanoes can destroy civilizations are the ancient Roman city of Pompeii, buried by Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD, and the island of Krakatoa, devastated by a massive eruption in 1883. These events offer stark insights into the catastrophic potential of volcanic eruptions and their lasting impact on human settlements. The destruction of Pompeii, a sudden catastrophe. Pompeii, a bustling Roman city near the Bay of Naples, thrived with vibrant public life, markets, baths, and homes. Situated close to Mount Vesuvius, Pompeii's inhabitants had lived with the volcano's presence for centuries, largely unaware of the danger it posed. On August 24, 79 AD, Vesuvius erupted violently, unleashing a deadly combination of pyroclastic flows, ashfall, and toxic gases. The eruption began with an explosive blast that sent a towering column of ash and pumice miles into the atmosphere. As volcanic debris rained down, the city was buried under up to 20 feet of ash and rock. What made this disaster especially deadly was the sudden arrival of pyroclastic flows, fast-moving currents of hot gas and volcanic matter that swept through Pompeii at speeds over 100 miles per hour, incinerating and suffocating everything in their path. The people of Pompeii had little warning and no effective means of escape. Many died instantly from thermal shock or were trapped beneath the falling ash. The city was lost for nearly 1,700 years until rediscovered in the 18th century, revealing an extraordinary snapshot of Roman life frozen in time. The eruption of Vesuvius destroyed not only lives, but also the economic vitality and cultural heritage of Pompeii, erasing a thriving civilization beneath volcanic rubble. Krakatoa, a volcanic catastrophe with global consequences. Over 1,800 years later, another volcanic eruption would demonstrate the destructive power of volcanoes on a different scale. Krakatoa, a volcanic island located in the Sunda Strait between Java and Sumatra, Indonesia, erupted catastrophically in August 1883. The Krakatoa eruption is considered one of the most violent volcanic events in recorded history. The eruption generated a series of massive explosions, each louder than the last, culminating in an enormous blast so powerful it was heard thousands of miles away. The volcano's summit collapsed, triggering colossal tsunamis that devastated nearby coastal settlements, killing an estimated 36,000 people. The eruption expelled vast quantities of ash and sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere, causing global climatic disruptions and spectacular sunsets worldwide. The island of Krakatoa itself was obliterated, with nearly 2/3 of its landmass disappearing beneath the waves. Surrounding communities were wiped out, agriculture was destroyed, and the marine ecosystem suffered severe damage. The destruction was not limited to immediate loss of life, but extended to long-term social and economic upheaval. Survivors faced famine, displacement, and the challenge of rebuilding lives amid the volcanic devastation. How volcanoes destroy civilizations, mechanisms and consequences. Throughout history, volcanic eruptions have acted as both creators and destroyers, shaping landscapes while simultaneously devastating human settlements. The tragic stories of Pompeii in 79 AD and Krakatoa in 1883 serve as haunting reminders of how volcanoes can abruptly dismantle entire civilizations. These catastrophic events reveal multiple mechanisms by which volcanic activity destroys civilizations, ranging from immediate physical devastation to long-lasting environmental and social consequences. Sudden physical destruction. One of the most immediate and visually striking effects of volcanic eruptions is the sudden physical destruction they inflict on human settlements. The eruption of Mount Vesuvius that buried Pompeii is the archetypal example. In just hours, a torrent of pyroclastic flows, superheated avalanches of gas, ash, and rock raced down the volcano's slopes, incinerating and suffocating the city's inhabitants. Simultaneously, thick layers of ash rained down, burying the city under meters of debris, effectively freezing Pompeii in time. Similarly, Krakatoa's 1883 eruption produced colossal explosions that obliterated the island itself and devastated surrounding communities. Lava flows and pyroclastic surges destroyed villages, while enormous tsunamis, generated by the volcanic collapse, swept away entire coastal populations. The speed and intensity of such destruction leave little time for evacuation, making these eruptions deadly and transformative events. Loss of life. Volcanic eruptions are often silent killers that claim lives not only through the immediate impact, but also from indirect effects such as toxic gases and environmental collapse. At Pompeii, the inhalation of lethal volcanic gases and extreme heat caused most deaths within moments. Entire families, caught unaware during daily life, were preserved in their final moments, etched forever in plaster casts made by modern archaeologists. In the case of Krakatoa, the death toll was staggering. Approximately 36,000 people perished, many drowned by the towering tsunamis triggered by the volcanic blasts. The eruption's violence far exceeded the capacity for human survival, especially given the limited warning systems of the time. Toxic volcanic gases like sulfur dioxide further poisoned survivors, exacerbating casualties. Economic collapse. The physical destruction of settlements is only the beginning. Volcanic eruptions often result in long-term economic devastation. The ashfall from eruptions can blanket fertile farmland, rendering soil temporarily infertile and disrupting agriculture, the backbone of most ancient and pre-industrial societies. After the Krakatoa eruption, vast swathes of farmland were covered by ash and lava, destroying crops and pasture land. Fisheries and trade routes were also severely affected, cutting off essential food supplies and commerce. The destruction of infrastructure, roads, ports, and buildings compounded economic hardship. Communities dependent on agriculture and local markets faced famine and poverty in the eruption's aftermath, sometimes for years. The economic ripple effects could destabilize entire regions and lead to prolonged societal decline. Environmental and climatic impact. Volcanic eruptions do not only wreak havoc locally, they can also influence the global environment and climate. The Krakatoa eruption is a classic example of this. Massive amounts of volcanic ash and sulfur aerosols injected into the stratosphere blocked sunlight, reducing global temperatures, a phenomenon known as volcanic winter. This led to unusual weather patterns worldwide, crop failures, and food shortages in regions far from the eruption site. Additionally, the atmospheric particles caused spectacular sunsets and optical phenomena observed globally for several years. These climatic disturbances underscore the reach of volcanic impacts beyond the immediate blast zone, affecting ecosystems and human societies thousands of miles away. Forced migration and population displacement. The social consequences of eruptions frequently include forced migration and demographic upheaval. Survivors are often compelled to abandon their devastated homelands, seeking refuge elsewhere. Following Krakatoa's eruption, thousands fled the surrounding islands, creating waves of displacement and resettlement challenges. These movements can trigger conflict over resources in host regions or alter the demographic composition of entire areas. The loss of homeland severs people from ancestral roots, affecting cultural practices and community structures. Migration can also spread the influence of volcanic catastrophes as displaced populations integrate or clash with neighboring societies. Conclusion: the destruction wrought by volcanoes is multifaceted, encompassing immediate physical annihilation, tragic loss of life, economic turmoil, climatic disruptions, cultural devastation, and social displacement. Pompeii and Krakatoa serve as profound historical lessons illustrating these complex processes. Volcanic eruptions remind us of nature's power to dismantle civilizations overnight, but they also highlight human resilience and the capacity to learn from disaster. Understanding how volcanoes destroy civilizations is essential, not only for historical knowledge, but also for preparing modern societies to mitigate risks and respond effectively to volcanic threats. In this way, the legacy of Pompeii and Krakatoa transcends tragedy, becoming a guide for survival and adaptation in the face of one of Earth's most formidable forces. Join me as we unravel the deadly power of volcanoes, how they obliterate cities, disrupt lives, and reshape the world. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated on more incredible stories of nature's unstoppable forces.